All right, we got some breaking news, you guys. This is for all Alaskan anglers or anybody thinking of Alaskan fishing this summer. These regulations and changes to the fishing season are going to affect you no matter what, because there's going to be closures on all salmon fishing in certain areas, plus the Kenai River is closing its salmon fishing too. Stick around. I'm going to bring you facts and information from what the ADF&G just released, because in 2025, we're going to be having some of the hardest hitting restrictions anywhere around, and this is going to affect anywhere from the saltwater to the freshwater, all over the peninsula, the Cook Inlet, and its streams that are feeding into it. So first off, we got to talk about the Kenai River king salmon closures. Again, this is going to be closing down the Kenai River's early run king salmon. The fishery is officially closed for 2025. From May 1st through June 30th, anglers are going to be prohibited from targeting king salmon, even for catch and release. So if you think you can come up here and just have some fun with them, they don't want you to touch them at all. So the preseason forecasts on the early run king salmon on the Kenai River are only going to be around 1,500 fish. That's way less. It's like half of the minimum escapement goal. They're trying to get somewhere around like 3,900 to 4,000 fish. There's only going to be half of that estimated, so we don't even know if that's going to come in. So in order for the sustainable escapement goal to work and to have enough fish to spawn in the river, they're going to shut down all fishing entirely. They're going to take that regulation and they're going to run it into the late run king salmon, close that down too, because the situation doesn't get any better for the Kenai River. From June 20th to August 15th, the fishery is going to be completely shut down. So with all the king salmon fishing, including catch and release, completely prohibited. So think about that in your planning when you're coming up here to do some Alaska fishing. If you're trying to get on those Kenai River king salmon this year, it's just not going to happen. It's not allowed. The 2025 forecast predicts just under 9,000 large fish. They usually want to see about 14,000 large fish. So these numbers are about approximate and estimates, but still, with those numbers coming in so low, it's going to be this huge problem. Actually forecast to be the second lowest run ever. So if you think about that, ever since they started recording this back in the 80s, over 4 decades of data on the books, they're going to take extreme measures here to prevent any further decline in the king salmon population. So with that being said, they're going to start out in the saltwater, which is where the kings come from, and down towards Homer in the Cook Inlet, they're going to be targeting the king salmon in the Cook Inlet saltwater. So from May 1st through August 15th, king salmon north of Bluff Point. You're not going to be able to fish above Anchor Point. You're not going to be able to fish above Bluff Point. You're not going to be able to fish anywhere up the inlet all the way up towards Anchorage. So they're going to completely shut down and reduce the bag limits. They're going to cut the bag limits in half. The bag limits are going to be cut to 1 fish instead of 2, which is normal. So from April 1st to August 31st, the restrictions are going to be put in place to help the Kenai River's late run king salmon, and hopefully this works, because they're kind of running out of options. I mean, you could only shut down so many fisheries and not see progress before there's just going to be no fishing at all. So, and right here on this river where I'm sitting right here today, bringing you guys this report, this is the Kasilof River. Typically, the Kasilof River, it's going to have bait open on it to go after those hatchery king salmon, and that usually starts May 1st and runs through August 15th, but they went ahead and restricted that too. There's only going to be allowed to be 1 single hook, no bait, artificial lures only, and you're going to be able to target the hatchery king salmon only. They can be retained, but the naturally produced kings, they've got to be thrown back, and also you're not allowed to take them out of the water. So sometimes you see people keeping them in the net so they can go take a picture of them or something like that. Any type of adverse reactions that these fish have, they don't spawn and they don't reproduce. So you end up having some little tiny harassment that changes and alters the entire run cycle for that fish. So try to be careful if you hook into a wild king. Keep it in the water, release it immediately, let it go back, and try and spawn so we can get more fish coming out of this river. And I didn't know this, the Kasilof River here, they're taking the brood stock samples out of the Crooked Creek Weir. They're going to stock this river. They also take the hatchlings from here and they put them everywhere else on the peninsula too, to help those programs out as well. So this river is really important for the fishing game to be able to collect their samples and continue their hatchery program. Because right now all we got is hatchery fish, just like on the Ninilchik River. And even though you can catch hatchery kings on the Ninilchik River starting Memorial Day weekend, they're still going to restrict bait on that river as well. You're not going to be able to use any bait. It's going to be completely prohibited. All anglers are going to be limited to just a single hook. It's going to be artificial, lures only, flies only, no bait. So hatchery kings, you're going to be allowed to keep 2 fish per day with a 5 fish annual limit. Anything wild needs to be sent back immediately. So these are going to be huge restrictions put on the sport fishing season this year. So pay attention. These closures are happening all over. Every single stream that feeds into the Cook Inlet's going to be affected by this, and all sport fishing regulations from this point forward are going to be affected by this, because right now we're just running on emergency orders. These emergency orders that the fishing game are putting out, they're talking about closing down Kasilof River personal use gillnet fisheries for a couple of days. Typically you're going to get 7 days. 7 days is all they're going to allow this year, but typically you're going to get like 10 days of fishing for the personal use set net. This year it's only going to be 7 days, and that in itself is to protect the king salmon. People keep catching these king salmon, putting them back in the water, the mortality rate, and then the fish just don't spawn, they don't come back out. So even with the Alaska personal use fisheries seeing the setbacks, the Kasilof Rivers going to be open for fishing for king salmon, but it's only for those hatchery fish only. So with these closures and restrictions, they mark a critical moment in Alaska's king salmon populations. The numbers are at historic lows. The ADF&G is prioritizing conservation over harvest. They're hoping to rebuild these fisheries, and they're trying to do it before it's too late. I mean, it makes sense, right? Try now before there's just no fish anywhere. We can look at other fisheries around the country, all over the world. Like how did they conserve? Did they wait too long? And did their fish ever return after they shut them down? So what does it mean for the fishing community, for us, you know, for everybody that's out here trying to have a good time? The guides, the lodges, the anglers, everybody is going to feel an impact, and the long-term future of the king salmon in Alaska really remains uncertain. So basically stay informed, follow the regulations, and consider shifting your focus to other species like the sockeye salmon. Right now they're projecting sockeye salmon counts to be up and above the sustainable escapement goal, probably 15 to 20% higher than what they're actually required to meet their sustainable escapement goals. So hopefully the sockeye salmon season's a banger this year, which is going to be all right. So you know, the future of Alaska's king salmon, it depends on the actions that we take today. And also, if you find this report helpful, let me know. I'll stay on top of this. I'll keep reporting, and I'll keep bringing you guys these awesome updates, letting you guys know if you need help with the fishing regulations, or you just want to reach out, get in these community posts, these comment sections on these videos just like this. People go back and forth. I only put out like a little tiny bit of information that's actually relevant to what's going on around here, and all of the viewers of this channel pile into the comment section, and they really help out a lot of other people, because my comment sections get viewed a lot. A lot of good information is passed through that section of this channel. So make sure you leave a like and you comment if you're concerned, or if you have any other ideas or concerns. Maybe people can learn from one another, and then we can get this fishery set back on track. So before you go out fishing in Alaska, make sure first you have a fishing license and you understand the regs for the waterways that you're fishing. And good luck out on the water, and I hope to see you guys out there holding your fish up this summer. I'm way stoked. This is going to be a banger season, and hopefully Everybody gets to fill their freezers, and we get to make this sustainable for future generations to come. So thanks for tuning in, you guys, to this episode. I appreciate all the support, and have a great day.